Story 1. AITAH for breaking up with my partner of 7 months because they had being trans. I met them about 10 months ago online. We really hit it off initially and grew really close after 3 months of being online besties. They told me they liked me, and I told them I liked them as well. We started a long-distance relationship and would be on calls most of the day, even when not talking, just to be in each other's presence. I even talked to a lot of their friends and family. Things were always really good between us that entire time. Fast forward to a few days ago when finally a plan to travel to their country was in the talks. They admitted to me that they are trans and had been hiding this for months as they were worried about losing me. I felt pretty numb at this point and told them I need some time. Eventually, I broke things off on a call and told them I can be friends with them, but I don't see us having a relationship. At the moment this happened, they were very calm and collected and respectfully let it be. But later I found out they have been a total mess. They have been drinking a lot of alcohol lately and not eating much, barely talking to anyone. The friends and family of theirs I had talked to started spamming me initially with texts asking me to talk to them, which I tried to and failed to do, and then later on I started getting a lot of hateful messages calling me names, which led me to block most of them. So AITAH for breaking up with them because of them being trans? Story 2. AITA for how I handled my girlfriend being kissed by another man. My M21 girlfriend F21 was at a bar getting drinks with her team. The evening goes on and she's alone with her manager, a guy who has made clear he was very attracted to her. All of a sudden, I get a call from her saying that he forcibly kissed her. My immediate reaction was, "Are you okay? Oh my God, this is not your fault. You need HR. She then calms down and explains how this guy would position himself in the office just so he could watch her. Then she hits me with the bombshell. If I wasn't with you, I'd be with him, which really threw me, to be honest. The following evening I whirled round and my temper was high, and without asking how her day was, I started grilling her about it. I got out of her that a part of her was excited by what this guy did, and she hated that she was. She tells how it reminded her of past toxic relationships, and it was the familiarity of it. After that, she tried making up to me, and yes, I was a duck. First of all, I went waltzing off to get dinner with her card, which was a duck move, fair enough. I was not my usual self cause I was still feeling a bit weird about it. All of a sudden, she fumes at me out of nowhere and said my response made her lose a lot of respect for me. The way I immediately started grilling her about the fact the guy was on her IG even though she just got back from work was her main argument, and she called me immature. I saw that I was and sincerely apologized, but she refused to accept it. She said constantly that she loves me, but this one, easily learnable from slip-up from, is enough to get me sacked. I'm never cold and immediately forgive her when she does the same, and I just wish I could be given the same treatment. Instead, I spent 2 years with someone I tried to make a better man. I'm not doing it again. We go to bed. The next day she's extremely cold, and the atmosphere is really uncomfortable for me, so I leave, despite making an effort to make things right. But it was the coldness for me got too much, so I left. AITA? I just didn't appreciate how she found herself alone with a guy who clearly has feelings for her and has made them very clear. How she then hits me with the comment which was unnecessary and bound to get into my head. Am I being a jealous tosser? Or do I have a point? Story 3. AITAH for wanting to bust my ex-husband's married girlfriend? Buckle up, folks. This is a crazy story. My ex-husband, let's call him Andy, and I divorced pretty amicably 4 years ago. Before our divorce, maybe while we were still married, he started dating a woman I used to work with. Let's call her Lindsay. I knew Lindsay was married and had cheated on her husband at least once. I did some online investigation and confirmed that she had no divorce records and was still living with her husband. Threw in some small-town family connections, and you can imagine that it wasn't hard to figure out. I told Andy that Lindsay was married, and he didn't believe me. We have 2 kids together, and she was already becoming a big part of their lives. To make this part of the story short, I went a little over the crazy line and possibly made her think I was going to tell her husband, conveniently also named Andy, that she was cheating. I had a real problem with her being in my kids' lives, and I have a real problem with liars. She fessed up to my ex, they broke up, and she exited my children's lives. At some point in the last year or two, they started seeing each other again. She is firmly planted in my daughter's life particularly, and my ex is an absolute asshole to deal with now. I am assuming she convinced him his crazy ex made up a story about her being married. I should have mentioned that my ex is the most gullible person I have ever met in my life. My daughter let it drop one day that Lindsay wasn't married, so I know that's the story she had been told, and this whole big dramatic mess has severely damaged our relationship. It is 100% confirmed by Lindsay's family and a lack of divorce records, plus the fact that she still lives with her husband, that she is in fact still married. Am I an asshole for wanting to blow up their joke of a relationship? I am truly at a loss for how to get this lying cheater out of the mom position in my daughter's life without looking like I'm the crazy person. I'd gaff who my ex dates, but I do care that my children have been lied to for years, and my daughter has pushed me out of her life in favor of her dad's married girlfriend. 4. AITA for expecting sucks on a date night with my wife? My wife and I generally have a great relationship. Last night, however, I learned from my wife that she has been on a suck strike for most of the last month due to some comments I made following our last date night, which was about a month ago. As background, I arrange a nice date night each month for just the two of us. I plan a dinner somewhere nice, arrange a babysitter, feed our 3 kids dinner, and otherwise handle all of the logistics so that all she has to do is show up. Typically, we will grab drinks somewhere after dinner, sometimes meeting up with friends for the drinks portion, and other times going just the two of us. Earlier this month, I planned an evening out and we had a fantastic dinner together. After dinner, we arranged to meet up with a couple we are friends with. However, the wife was tired and decided she wanted to go to bed, so only her husband ended up taking her home and then joining us at a local bar. Around 11:45, we had to leave to relieve our babysitter. My wife was having fun and didn't want the evening to end, so she invited our friend over for another drink. I told her I was fine with that, but that I was hoping to be in bed by 1 a.m. As background, I do the morning shift with our 3 kids every day and they get up early. My wife promised that we'd be in bed by then. Our friend came over, we opened a bottle of wine, put on some music, and we're all having a good time. 1 o'clock comes around and he gets up to go, but my wife tells us we can't leave as she is vibing. I stick around for another 10 minutes or so and then decide to call it as I was getting pretty tired. My wife tells me she will be up in another 10 minutes. I get ready for bed, which takes about that long, and don't hear her coming, so I go to bed. Around 3 o'clock, I get woken up by her coming into our bedroom. She was drunk at this point and made a lot of noise. I'm now wide awake, and if that happens, it usually takes me a while to go back to sleep. In this case, it took me until around 5 o'clock, which was fun when the kids woke up at 6:30. Anyways, at this point, since I'm now wide awake, I ask her if she'd want to have sex. Probably not the most romantic, I know. She declines as she is tired and wants to go to sleep. Fair enough, I don't push the issue, and she immediately falls asleep. However, I can't sleep now due to being woken up and sit there and stew for a few hours, mostly frustrated at being woken up, but also annoyed at how the evening went overall. My first mistake was sending her a text while she is asleep, saying that her actions that evening were hurtful and that it felt like I planned this nice evening, only for her to end up spending the later part of it with someone else, and not like that. I am 100% confident they were just listening to music and chatting. The next morning, she came downstairs apologetic. However, I made the mistake of mentioning that her actions made me not really want to plan these extravagant date nights anymore, as she had broken her promise about going to bed at a reasonable hour and then ruined my sleep. Not the first time this has happened on a date night. Then, and this is where I may be the asshole, I added that this was at least the 4th date night in a row where the night had ended with us not having sex, and that in my mind, a good date night ends in sex. I also added that this one was particularly offensive because it felt like she abandoned me at the end of the night. These comments really upset her, and she said they made her feel like I only appreciate her for sex. She added that date nights should be about having fun and enjoying her company, and that I should assume we won't have sex on date nights. Honestly, I have some sympathy for her perspective about enjoying each other's company being the most important part of a date night, but I also don't think it is unreasonable to feel a little let down after planning a romantic evening, especially since it had become a pattern, and particularly where she effectively chose to do something else rather than have sex with me. So Reddit, what do we think? AITA? Story 5. Am I the asshole for considering ending a 6-year relationship because my fiancé canceled our plans? I 28F and my fiancé 26F had a disagreement the other day. For Christmas, we got 4 tickets to a stand-up show, so we invited 2 of our friends to come along, made plans, and booked a restaurant before the show. It is now less than 2 weeks until the show, and my fiancé told me that she can no longer go since she's playing a football match that evening. I got upset since it is so close to the date, and I don't really have other friends that go well with the ones we invited. I said it felt like she wasn't prioritizing me as this had been planned for 4 months. She got angry at me for being upset and said I didn't understand, and then started saying some hurtful things. I decided to let it go. Yesterday, we had dinner at her parents' house, and I asked her about an upcoming event for my work, also less than a month away. She told me that she wasn't going to go to that, as her cousin had invited her to see their new baby and spend the night. I again got upset and told her she had already said she was going to go and that I had asked to add her to the invitation list. She said that she couldn't go another day to her cousin's as she had work and made it out as I was making a big deal out of it. When I kept arguing, said it might make me look bad at work with such short notice, she said something along the lines of, "Fine, I guess, I just won't go see my cousin then." I am feeling really defeated and she has been cranky with me since. I just feel like it is childish that she won't just talk to me. What really broke the camel's back was how she has been short and snappy with me and the 4-year-old boy we foster for a weekend a month. She locked herself away as I gave him a bath. We watched a movie and did bedtime. I feel like if she can act like this not only to me, but also ignore a young child, what does that mean for possible children in our future? Please give me some advice, I'm not sure what to do. I have asked her to talk to a professional, but she doesn't want to. Am I the asshole for considering ending this relationship?